Thanks for getting my name right. Hi, everybody. Come on back. So, as he said, my name is Adam Gravois, and my talk today is about best practices for virtual try-on. Specifically, what's better from a customer experience standpoint, Magic Movie or Magic Mirror? And I'll explain what I mean in just a second. So, virtual try-on is a pretty great example of how augmented reality makes things better for consumers, retailers, and brands. It's, when you can show the product in the customer's world, whether that's clothing on their body or furniture in their house or glasses on their face, it's pretty magical, and it really solves a real business problem. You can shorten the buying cycle, increase brand loyalty, and reduce returns, which are all things that people who sell stuff love. But here's the thing. Virtual try-on requires work from the customer. The user has to physically perform for the camera. And if we want them to use it a lot and make it a shopping habit, we have to reduce that workload as much as possible. So, generally speaking, there's two approaches, as I said. Magic Mirror and Magic Movie. In Magic Mirror, the camera, the tracking, and the rendering are all happening in real time. You're pretty familiar with this. With Magic Movie, the real world is recorded once, and then the tracking and rendering can happen offline. So allow me to show you my first demo. This is the only Magic Mirror app that I could find on the App Store. But it's a demo app. It's not affiliated with any retailer or brand, so there's not a lot of content in it, but it serves to illustrate the point. Okay. You've all seen this sort of thing. Come on now. Demoitis. You know the one, but you know what I'm going to show you, really. It's possibly a lighting issue. There we go. It's actually a little bit flaky. But the wonderful thing about Magic Mirror is the live feedback. You know, it's instant. I can get instant feedback. I can see it on my face. And it's really magical, right? Even if it doesn't work perfectly all the time, come on back. It's still pretty cool. But here's the thing about virtual try-on. I'm performing. The whole time I'm doing this, I have to hold the iPad steady. I have to hold my head just so. And I have to be in pretty good light, which could be better. So this is relatively hard work. And I don't think I want to do this for more than 3 or 5 minutes tops. Furthermore, this work performing makes it really difficult to browse through the different styles and makes it even harder to share and capture. So let's and one final note, if you need to actually wear corrective lenses, you're out of luck when you're trying this out. So let's take a look at Magic Movie. My second demo app is one that I helped create, the glasses.com, hi there, virtual try-on app. And I think it's an exemplar of how Magic Movie can be really great. So just prior to this talk, I recorded my head, did a side-to-side turn with the camera on the device. And now, with that done, it took about 2 minutes. With that done, I can set the iPad down. I don't have to hold it up. And I can just kind of browse at my leisure. I can easily compare multiple styles at once, even slide them down my nose, and tag my favorites for later sharing. So I can even come back later, maybe curl up on the couch, take my makeup off, put my glasses back on when the light is dim, and shop for glasses whenever I feel like it. I think that's really the foundation for repeat engagement and long-term use. What's more, this app gives me something that a mirror can't, the chance to see myself in profile and really see how other people would see me in these glasses. Oh, those are nice. I mean, just look at that nose. My God, I'm handsome. Oh, awesome. And there's other benefits to the Magic Movie approach as well. Because the tracking and rendering don't need to happen in real time, the quality can be much higher. You'll notice that it's pretty rock solid. The glasses don't wiggle around a lot. And we create a 3D model of your head from the video stream so that we know exactly where to place a nice contact shadow that reacts to the glasses and sits correctly on your nose and cheeks. Just having the shadow alone, I think, makes a huge improvement in the realism of the effect. We also account for scale so that you know these are pretty accurately sized. The rendering is also much more sophisticated and much more faithful to the product. We have a complex ray-traced reflection that exhibits plastic and metallic reflections, satin and matte finishes, even colored iridescent lenses. Let me find one of those. There you go. And colored transparency. Even the shadow reflects the color of the glasses. Now, the results for glasses.com, and maybe this informs Chris's point, have been great. Come on back. Oh, dear. I didn't anticipate having to switch through different iPads quite so much. So we've had millions of downloads, a couple of awards, including a Cannes Lion. But the big ones have been what matters most for retailers, is usage and revenue, over a threefold increase, almost a threefold increase year over year since it was introduced. And I think what is the ultimate vote of confidence, the acquisition of our client, glasses.com, by Luxottica, the eyewear giant. Now, since I have just a moment more, and I'm going to go quickly through this so I don't take all of your time, I want to take a quick detour into best practices for production, because you might be wondering, okay, I've got a VTO app. How do I populate it with hundreds or even thousands of great-looking assets? These are our best practices for production. We produce over 400 pairs a month for Luxottica, and this is how we do it. Rule number 1, artists. Never let an artist name a file. Seriously, you're in production, you should have a rock-solid naming methodology, and in fact, the humans should never even have to type file names at all. That brings me to point number 2, computers. The computer should handle all of the boring mouse clicks. If it's repeatable, rule-bound, doesn't require judgment, you need to automate it. That way, your humans, point number 3, can spend their time on high-value mouse clicks that require judgment, thought, creativity. That's what you're paying for them for, after all. Finally, the way you do all this is with Python, or whatever your preferred tool is. But all of the major VFX packages, such as Maya, which we use extensively, have lots of hooks to Python. And we spend a lot of time building tools, whether it's to turn 4 mouse clicks into 1 mouse click, or a really big complex suite of tools that lets us turn a photorealistic 3D object into something that can actually be shown on the iPad. So, here's my key takeaways for you. Don't underestimate how much work it is to perform VTO. If you want long-term engagement, if you want your customers to use VTO for actual shopping rather than just as a gimmick, make it as easy as possible for them. And sometimes that means picking the technology that's slightly less futuristic in order to improve the overall experience. And I want to show you one last demo that I think really nails what I'm talking about. This is another virtual try-on app from Hermès, the venerable maker of ultra-luxury silk and leather goods. It's a virtual try-on for neckties. And it could not be simpler. So, are you seeing this? Oh, poo. Oh, there we go. So I browse through their collection, find a pattern I like. Oh, look at that. It says, down at the bottom, you can't see it here, it says, try it on your shirt. How do you think that is going to work? Check this out. I go to the mirror, I look at my iPhone, I know what the tie is going to look like with this shirt. Pretty great. Whoop. So, there's more than one way to augment reality. Thank you very much. Go out there and make something beautiful.
Thank you, Adam. Again, we have time for about one question as we're setting up the next speaker.
Sure. Questions?
Hi, I'm wondering if you could just talk about the current state of the technology for more complicated try-ons, like a vehicle or
Yeah,
clothing or whatever.
Sure. I'm not a huge expert in clothing try-on. I will tell you that's the $64 million question for sure. I know of a couple of companies that are doing really interesting research in that. They've got, teams of PhDs working on the problem. But, human bodies are soft, weird objects, and clothing is soft and dynamic. It's a huge challenge compared to a face, which is a rigid object, and glasses, which are a rigid object. I think furniture is really mature. I think we've pretty much set the bar for glasses try-on. I'm thinking hard about car try-on, what that means. What does it mean to try on a car? To sit in it, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the question.